Hey, let's do a little bit of trigonometry with triangles like this. So suppose you have a triangle like this. Angle A is 35, angle B is 65. Side B is going to be opposite angle B, so side B is 5. And we don't know what side A is. We'll call it X. So side A is going to be opposite of angle A. This would be side C. We don't know this. We could figure out what angle C is by simply adding these together and subtracting from 180, but it's not going to be necessary. We're not going to need to find that. So the law of sines, you could write it two ways. The first way is to write it like this up over here. A over the sine of angle A equals B over the sine of angle B, which is the same thing as C over the sine of angle C. Or you could invert that. You could switch it around top to bottom like this. So this is true. So the law of sines can be written either way. I think I would tend to do it so that the unknown value is on top. So if you're trying to find angle A, I would use this one down here if I knew side A, but I would use this one up here if I was looking for side A and didn't know it. So it just depends. So if I'm looking at this over here, I want to definitely use the angle and the side that I know both of those values on. So I definitely want to use that because you can't have two unknowns. So I'm going to use this as a pair, and then I'm going to use this as a pair. So I'm trying to find this, so I need to use this, and then this is going to be helpful to help me find that. So look at the way I'm going to set it up. So I'm going to say the thing that I'm looking for, side A, over the sine of angle A is equal to side B over the sine of angle B. So look at the triangle that I have here and look at the way I set it up. So notice I have the unknown value on top. Now, do I have to do it that way? No, but I think that's the easier way to do it. So the thing that I'm looking for, the portion, the side or the angle that is unknown that I'm trying to find, I tend to want to put that on the top left just for order. Anyway, so the way you solve a proportion is you cross multiply. So x times the sine of 65 looks like this. Sine of 35 times 5 looks like this. And since I'm solving for x, I'm going to divide both sides by the sine of 65. So it looks like that. And then with a calculator, I'm doing the sine of 35 times 5 divided by the sine of 65. If you do that on your calculator, you should practice that. X equals about 3.16. Usually when you're finding a side, you do that to the nearest hundredth or 2 decimal places. And so that's why I rounded that off to approximately 3.16. And so that is how you use the law of sines to find a missing side. So one cool thing about the law of sines, of course, you have 2 different ways you can use it. That's one cool thing. But probably the biggest cool thing is that you do not have to have a right angle in the triangle. So notice there is no 90-degree angle here. So there might be a temptation to try to just use sine, cosine, or tangent, but you cannot use right triangle trigonometry when you don't have a right angle. So you need the law of sines here. And there is something called the law of cosines that we can learn later on that might be helpful in some cases. But right here, this was the easiest thing to do, was to use the law of sines. So take a look at that. Look at how I set this up. Look at the triangle. See if that makes sense. You might have to re-watch the video. X is 3.16. So if I needed to know side C, I would go ahead and find this angle, and then I would set up a proportion using this unknown value with this angle, and then some of the other information that we found here we could set up using the law of sines, and we could find side C that way. All right, see you later.